Hi guys, welcome back. This is going to be titled Hairless. Hairless. Throughout my actual journey through East County, and you know what? Actually, the whole entire southwest region of the actual border, the western side, uh, we were airless. We had no air support to actually rely on, to actually get support. There was one helicopter for Border Patrol, and he bounced back and forth. And if you were lucky, he worked traffic for you. If you were not, if you were pretty much 100% on your station, which uh, Imperial Beach was, Chula Vista was, and so forth. And considering after you leaving Chula Vista, actual leaving, the cutoff for East County, uh, we had no air support whatsoever. We were fortunate enough to actually, if we were actually in some kind of distress or we lost an agent, and I would say we lost an agent, that we lost contact with an agent, and I'm considering talking about one situation where we actually lost one, but I don't know, maybe in the comments you guys can actually comment, see if you guys want to just uh, no details, but just to get a reaction from how I was feeling that day when that happened. And it happened to where the station I was actually working out of. So if you guys want to comment, if you want to hear about it, if not, uh, I won't put it up. So uh, but to correct that, we did have actual support from the air, from San Diego PD, from the sheriff's department. They were actually very, very helpful, and just cruising the actual the city. When I say the city, I mean along the border. They wouldn't go anywhere far. Just like the East County, they would not unless it was actually requested, needed, and they would come 100% fueled and ready for their actual for their objective, for their order, right? So we had no actual air support from the feds actually, and like I mentioned earlier, I don't get into politics. I'm neither left or right. I'm just for everybody to actually be successful. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of people don't really like to focus on. Whether it be through you taking our jobs, you through jealousy, or anything could be in anybody. Everything's different. And and so I won't even mention the administration that was actually in office. So some say that this actually was executed in '96. I disagree with that. Um, I should say '96, '97. That's when they started. They got the actual memo. But I'm thinking that in '95 is when it wasn't officially mentioned, because I did not see, I did not witness, I did not actually uh, can tell you that I actually saw any evidence of this. And then we're not including the military, though. We're not including them, though. So they were always available too, but I never experienced them actually being activated. Like a helicopter unit, never have. So uh, this administration actually created a memo and just had all the air support for anti-drug drop. Uh, don't forget that in the government, throughout the fiscal year, that money's already spent. That money's already allotted. That's including actually extra hours of flight time, because these pilots, they get paid very well. Whether they do flights or they don't do flights, whether they actually overtime is actually over hours, overtime is actually needed. There's no limit to that. And so they're actually memoed through the administration to stand down. So these guys were just hanging around the hangars, doing their PMs, perfectly well operating equipment. And these guys are getting paid a mint. So no anti-drug actual flights are being conducted throughout months. And and as they were activated here, as they were allowed to do it later on in life, later on in their career, later on, years later, it wasn't much of a anti-drug. It was more of a rescue, to tell the truth. And you'll see that, you can see it on border wars. These agents, and these are not just, these are actually well-educated, well-experienced agents that have most of them have military backgrounds. So these are officers. Officers get paid good for their talents. And these guys are just sitting around for months, just playing poker, just hanging out, because you can only clean your vehicle, you can only service your equipment so often, right? So, and actually, somebody noticed that that no flights were actually leaving this actual airfield, and it was a combination of everybody. It was a combination of the actual customs, border patrol, different actual agencies had their own equipment to be flown. Everybody has their own, top of the line, equipment. And that does come in handy at night, because groups get lost, groups need actual rescuing, and these guys, that's what the majority of them were actually doing. They were actually very, very helpful, and just if they could just drop off some water to a group until actual ground units can actually get to these groups, that's what they did. If they needed any kind of medical attention, these guys are well trained. Every time somebody mentions that they're a corpsman in the Navy for the Marines, or a medic in the Army, or so forth, oh, you're a corpsman, you're a medic, okay. No, these are actually, man, they're the most knowledgeable, they're the most experienced, that's who you want when you're actually wounded. That's a doctor right there. Even though they don't call themselves doctor, BS. These guys are doctors, and they will perform procedures on the field. They are very, very knowledgeable. And for them just to be called any kind of like a medic or a corpsman, no, it's not just, man. There should be a title of a doctor behind that, And so when you have these actual flights not being conducted, it slows down the ground units to actually rescue, to actually conduct business in a timely manner. Because some of these actual points where they're bringing in illegal or actual contraband, they were quite far from when